Good morning, Reject Nation. And in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Transition.
It's the Majestic.
The Majestic.
Perfect.
Starring Paul Rudd.
Starring Paul Newman.
We're going to watch today from the show Space Taste, The Truman Show.
The ethics of fabricated reality.
Sci-fi breakdown.
Ooh.
We did one for this channel for Back to the Future about time travel, which was really cool and led to a really fun discussion. And this is a patron video request from one of our top patrons, a man named Alex Gross.
Alex.
Who runs this channel. Currently, the man is in Thailand right now, taking advantage of all the cheap,
bootleg DVDs.
You know what I'm talking about. Prostitutes. I whispered into my mouth so you couldn't hear it.
Very Gollum-y of you.
Yeah, that's how you treat them.
Sure.
They're not humans. Any Thailand subscribers out there?
Is work. Sex work is real work.
Hey, I know 3 Thai people, so I can make that joke, right? And they're all women. I'm sure they'd appreciate that. We're going to watch this video now. I'm sure this is the shout-out you were looking for, buddy.
Yes. Make sure you tip. Not just the tip.
The ethics of fabricated realities, the Truman Show edition.
YouTube
Have you
voice
ever questioned the
voiceover.
nature of your reality? For Truman Burbank, reality was nothing more than an unsolicited television show
last name.
where every moment of his life was broadcast on live TV.
That's the whole kit and caboodle.
Let's take a look at his reality to
Funny
break
is
it down.
no one does this.
At the beginning of the Truman
No one
Show,
broadcasts
Truman
it.
begins to notice that something is wrong with his world, like a falling spotlight from the sky, rain that falls only on him,
That's
repetitive patterns, and an experience involving his deceased father. For Truman, any prospect of leaving the island frightens him, due to a childhood boating accident that killed his father and instilled an ever-present fear of water. Meryl,
Yes.
Truman's wife, and Marlon, his best friend, actively attempt to suppress Truman's curiosity. Why? Well, it's because Truman initially fell in love with an extra named Sylvia, but when Sylvia ran off with Truman to the beach and revealed that his reality is fake, she was quickly whisked away, never to be seen again. Marlon soon discovers Truman's tunnel to freedom and breaks character, forcing
movie's more
Kristoff to
relevant
cut
now than
transmission
ever.
for the very first time. Truman escapes in search of a true reality and sails off to the edge of the dome into freedom.
Oh, that's
So,
right.
what makes the Truman Show so terrifying? Well, the majority of the public is complicit in his imprisonment. The entire world watched his life unfold with very little issue. Truman never consented to have his privacy invaded. Just like the Truman Show fans obsessed with his every move, humans have the same obsession with reality TV and social media. We sign away
Yes.
privacy willingly with every app we use and every Alexa or Google Home we purchase.
Yes.
But, unlike us, Truman never opted in for forced isolation from the real world. Having been placed in the domed prison as a baby, Truman never had the opportunity to choose a profession or live the way he wanted to. Truman is a slave to the corporation. He was legally adopted by a corporation and deprived the ability to decide a fulfilling
really
life.
messed up.
Some corporations, like Facebook and Google, are already more powerful and influential than most countries. So, a scenario where companies help countries adopt children for commercial purposes isn't out of the question. Much like a slave, Truman was unable to act against his master's will.
We accept the reality of the world with which we're presented.
His entire life was exploited for money and entertainment. The Truman Show company likely grew rich,
cool to do
and
this
when
to a real
Truman
person.
attempted his escape, the company saw potential loss of profits
the point
and
is.
used dogs to sniff out their prized worker. Kristoff, the producer and driving force of The Truman Show, manipulated false narratives to prevent Truman from exploring the world and acting with free will. Are we really so different from Truman? Our brains, like computers, follow a blueprint that builds upon itself through interaction with the environment. Truman was born into a safe, comfortable, and controlled city. It's likely that many people on planet Earth would actually be jealous of his lifestyle. On the flip side, Truman can't trust anyone because they're completely fabricated. He can't choose to pursue who he decides to love. Meryl was selected to be his wife and showed no real love for him. These falsified relationships made the potential of true relationships that much more desirable. Hence his inevitable escape from the dome. Do you ever wonder what happened next for Truman? We know we do. Does
killed
Truman
himself.
suddenly gain new rights when he leaves? Does the company still own him? Thought starters aside, it's time for the real question. Is the Truman Show ethical?
No.
We say no. As
Not at
humans
all.
move forward with technological advances in our current society, our privacy is becoming increasingly more compromised. And without privacy, captivity can take hold. As individuals, we should all have the right to be free. Each of us should have the choice to decide the life we want to live. So, what do you think? Should society need to
everyone like
apologize for
watching
what
his
it's
life?
done? How angry would you be if you found out your whole life was a lie? Let us know in the comments below, and in case we don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Cool.
I don't know what they're talking about. I think that's a perfect scenario.
I think that's a perfect scenario.
No mystery.
That's
you know,
why I
your
love
life is
vlog
all-
channels.
Yeah.
I only watch vlog channels.
That's my ultimate goal, is just to have a camera on me at all times so that I can never truly behave as I would like to.
Yeah. Just exploit your personal life
Yeah.
problems. I mean, let's face it. I had one day where I did that, and that changed my whole life. One video for one day where you put up a personal life thing, and then you go, wait a minute, I don't want to be that guy. I don't
Hold
like it.
on.
I made a mistake.
Hold
and
on
suddenly
here.
it's shaped everything for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's Greg talking about? I'm sure someone in the comments will tell you. But no, in all honesty, I hate channels that thrive off that. There's so much truth to the Truman Show and this breakdown, and I think especially with what YouTube has with a lot of its channels in terms of a lot of specific vlog-like channels. There's a channel out there with close to 1 million subscribers. I've seen his videos trending once in a while, like saying goodbye to my best friend, and my girlfriend has cancer. Now, I'm not going to go into this whole criticism about my personal opinion on these kinds of channels, but there's something about those things. People just love watching someone's personal life so much, and they
Yeah.
like being involved in it. Because I was thinking about the Truman Show, and I'm like, this guy has a boring life. You know, he doesn't do anything that interesting.
Yeah.
But
But think of all the vlogs you do.
exactly.
A lot of people just doing
There's
regular
people
shit
who
all the
just
time.
love watching people live their lives.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. We're on our way to the store. We're in the car right now.
And you could say the same thing about watching us doing a reaction, honestly. A reaction is a lot more brief, and it's not exactly an insight into what we're doing outside of, because we're going to talk about what we're reacting to, so there's a little bit of difference there, but...
Well, and the
some-
reaction is like the surrogate for looking over at your friend to see if they're laughing.
or enjoying the video or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
But some might think that's pointless, and some might think that's stupid. Honestly, I thought reactions before I ever did one was kind of a dumb thing. I did. And then I started doing them, I started liking them, I started seeing what is appealing about them.
I understand what people get from this.
But at first, I didn't.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, about the Truman Show versus vlogs is vlogs, people
Are
are choosing.
voluntary,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
voluntary. You're choosing to. But it's a similar type of crowd of the kind of people who would watch something like the Truman Show.
Oh, I feel like the Truman Show is really ahead of its time in a lot of ways.
Yeah, because of what we have now.
Yeah, because there's so much of this across television, across the internet, across everything now. There's so much of people's mundane lives that you can just peer in on if you want to.
Yeah.
And the only difference now is that, you're not enslaved by this scenario so much as you might become enslaved by it, but, everybody enters in willingly now. We sign contracts or we put up YouTube videos or whatever.
With the Truman Show, though, there are things I wondered about, because this movie's PG-13.
Mm-hmm.
What about sex life? Did you ever see
Yeah,
Truman
do you see Truman
Burbank have sex?
sex?
Did you ever see him just do it?
Masturbating.
Yeah, I'm like, this
Or taking a dump.
all like the real personal stuff.
Yeah. It's 24/7.
Yeah, exactly. Did they just cut that out? Or did the guidelines give Truman Show yellow dollar bill signs for inappropriate content?
It's not an adult program. They edit that stuff out.
Because I would have loved to have seen that. I think if you remake the Truman Show, only include those scenes. No plot, no storyline. I think you should do it where Truman Burbank
works at a sex shop.
Burbank is a sex addict and a drug addict. It's just... Then I'd be like, no wonder everyone watches this show. Of course, look how crazy it is. This is good television right here.
Yeah. Instead of just like a weird experiment in normalcy.
Then at the end, when he finds out everyone's watching him, he's just like, awesome.
Yeah.
People know how cool
I'm an
life is.
exhibitionist.
Yeah. Everyone wants this life right. Yeah.
Follow me.
That is something point in the video.
At least discussing the ethics of fabricated reality. I feel like this movie is completely unethical.
No.
This guy's a slave.
I hope no one steals this idea, but I had a segment idea that I came up with yesterday. John, read it. It's number 5 out of 7 segment ideas I have.
Number 5, why this movie is actually
Yeah. And Truman Show is one of them.
Oh, that's a great idea, too.
But I hope, I'm coining it right now, this date. I feel like Truman Show is like a real, like, messed up movie that was advertised as like a family-friendly comedy in some ways,
Yeah. I mean, totally. If you look at the implications, I mean, there's totally whimsy at hand. But to me, this is in a very different way, kind of like a Home Alone, where it's like, if you just change the tone a little bit, this would be entirely messed up.
Yeah.
This would be really horrific.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Like, this poor man.
Honestly, if there's a movie I would love to see a sequel that people might deem unnecessary, it would be The Truman Show.
Yeah.
Like, who is he after?
Who is he after this?
After
Yeah.
going into the real world,
Confronting that trauma.
He's still a celebrity.
Because people outside the dome have to know who he is.
What are his trust issues like?
Yeah.
You know?
How could he ever not be paranoid?
Does he capitalize on fame? How could he ever escape? He's the most famous man in the world for being him. Could he ever lead a normal life? You know, like I would love to actually see a sequel to and I think where Jim Carrey is now.
I know.
Yeah.
It could actually work.
On the good foot. Ha! We don't matter. We don't matter.
Oh, wow.
There's the good news.
With like, I hate media, Jim Carrey, and like disassociation from a reality and a very metaphysical kind of guy. Like,
He's even got the perfect look. He can have his shaved head
exactly.
and giant beard. And
or even with the long hair, Jim Carrey, who he is now, would be a perfect fit for more than a Dumb and Dumber 2. A Truman Show
Yeah.
sequel would make way more sense to me.
And I mean, it would be totally relevant too, just acknowledging all the things that we brought up in this video, like reality TV and vlogging and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
Like there would be so much to draw from that would make the commentary work as well.
Yeah, I mean, the conclusion they come to of fabricated reality is that ethical. No, I don't think so.
I think it's rarely ethical.
It's rarely ethical. Unless you're trying to like catch someone for doing something horrible or something.
Yeah,
you
sure.
know?
I'm Chris Hansen. No, you're not.
But beyond that,
Just
like,
to take a normal guy and to throw him into that situation is wholly messed up.
yeah, that's why it's illegal to record people without consent.
Yeah. That's why you gotta let them know.
Yeah, so you gotta let them know. I don't let my therapist know.
Yeah.
I record all my therapy sessions without my therapist knowing.
I record all of my massages.
I record every time my girlfriend and I do it, you know, in case she leaves me. I need something to threaten her with. Revenge porn.
The ethics of revenge porn.
The problem is the camera's only on me.
Oh, that's poetic.
Very self-absorbed. Like that.
Poetic irony right there. You release the tapes.
Like, oh, damn it. Can't even tell it's her.
Tell who it is. The only person in frame is me. And I'm dirty.
Anyway, guys, subscribe to Space Taste. They seriously do some amazing videos.
Space
And
taste, place to place.
thanks, Alex Gross, for supporting the channel. Please go check out some more of their videos. Hey, you guys can subscribe to the Reject Nation and click that notification bell because, you know, people say to do that. And check us out on Patreon where we got shit. See you guys.
Poop.